first ever Manatee Sports Raw review. Raw was a great show. It was very exciting to watch, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's get started right away. Starting with the OTC Roman Reigns coming out. He gets in the ring, says acknowledge me, like Dallas, Texas, acknowledge me, and immediately gets interrupted by Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman. Heyman then builds up Bronson Reed as the man that Roman fears because Bronson Reed is the first man to put Roman Reigns on a stretcher. Like, he's never been put on a stretcher. And Paul Heyman makes a really funny joke when he goes, even at your family barbecues, when you guys were doing the Samoan Battle Royal, you never got put in a stretcher. And Roman and Bronson, they immediately want to fight each other, but Paul Heyman's like, not so fast. We can't do this right now. We're not going to fight on the tribal chief's time. And Roman's like, it doesn't matter when we do it. It's always going to be on the tribal chief's time. But then Heyman kind of looks at Bronson Reed and nods, and the match is made official at Crown Jewel Perth. It will be an Australian street fight between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. I'm very excited for this match. Reigns immediately accepts. Heyman and Reed, they try to leave, but Roman goes, oh, look at them trying to leave like a bunch of bitches. And then Bronson Reed charges the ring. They start brawling. Roman Reigns pretty much ends on top. And yeah, it was a fun segment. I enjoyed it. Now we go backstage. Asuka is telling Kairi that she's going to face Io tonight. And when Kairi says, I don't really want to fight Io, she's family, Asuka slaps her. And it was a hard slap too. But what I wanted to note here is Kairi Sane's face turn. It's going to hit so hard when it happens. And when this happens, Kairi Sane's going to get launched to stardom. And I think that she could win a world title off of this momentum that she has. Yeah. Kairi Sane's an amazing wrestler, but then with this popularity that she's going to gain, it's going to be great. Now let's go to our first match of the night, which is Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupri. It's a non-title match. It was a kind of sloppy match, but it got better towards the end. Becky has the match won on the outside. She gets in the ring to break the count, gets in the ref's face a little bit, rolls back out, starts beating up Maxine Dupri a little more, starts celebrating on the table at like a count of like 6. Maxine gets in the ring, and the ref quick counts for the 10 count, and Maxine Dupri actually beats Becky Lynch. So I'm expecting in about 2 to 3 weeks, Maxine Dupri will get her title match, and then that's when we will see the return of AJ Lee. But let's go to a backstage segment. Roman Reigns and the Usos are backstage. Roman is talking to Jay, and he brings up the fact that Punk is at the top of the hour, and it's not Jay, and this makes Jay mad. Jay storms off. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to let him be at the top of the hour. And then Roman then tells Jimmy that he hears everything that Jimmy's saying about him, and he questions Jimmy, what's wrong with Jay taking advice from me? Like, what's wrong with it? And Jimmy kind of just gives him this look like, do you not remember, like, your title reign? He doesn't say anything, but just that look, that's basically what he's saying. Now let's go to the second match of the night. Lyra and Roxanne Perez. It's always a good match, but it's starting to get a little repetitive in my opinion. Roxanne Perez gets the win. Cool pop rocks at the end. But then Lyra and Bayley chase Raquel up the ramp, and they end up brawling backstage, and there's going to be a tag match next week on Raw. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited for that. AJ Styles is backstage, and he gets confronted by the Judgment Day. Now, Dominic is like, AJ Styles, you're going to fight John Cena. Like, that's kind of like, why are you getting that match? And then Finn is like, yeah, and AJ, I heard that you and Dragon Lee are going to try to be taking our tag titles. Like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And AJ's basically like, well, hey, I mean, if I'm doing things that I shouldn't be doing, how about you three go up against me and Dragon Lee, and we'll find a third guy? And then they end up finding the man with zero fear in Penta, and this leads to a 6-man tag match later in the night. But now let's go to a very fun promo. CM Punk comes out. He says that he's been gone because he's staying out of Cody's business. He is like, I don't have a title. I don't need to be involved in this. But when he's done with this, I'm going to come after Seth. I'm next in line. I'm going to beat Seth because I'm the best in the world and I'm better than Seth and everyone knows it. So, and then he kind of like looks at the camera, a very obvious MJF reference, which was very cool. That made me pop. But what also made me pop is LA Knight interrupting CM Punk. Now, LA Knight says that he's earned a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, and he says that CM Punk, last time we saw him, he's being a great husband, but he's not a very good champion. LA Knight goes on to say that he's earned a shot because he's pinned Rollins twice, and Punk has already been pinned by Rollins twice. And then LA says, you know who like hasn't been pinned by Rollins like you have? And then Punk claps back and he goes, "Oh, I'm guessing it's the guy in front of me that's never won a World Heavyweight Championship." And then LA, he goes to say something, but he can't because Jey Uso comes out. Jey Uso interrupts LA Knight and CM Punk. They're having a great promo battle. Jey says that he's actually coming back for his World Heavyweight Championship. Said that he never got a rematch, which LA Knight then actually, he calls Deja Vu from Paris, and that's literally what I was thinking. I'm like, all three of these guys have gotten a title opportunity at Clash in Paris, but they're acting like they haven't. It was pretty weird. But LA Knight then goes to Jey and says like, "Hey Jey, just stick to being a tag team guy. Let us fight for the world championship. Just stick to being a tag team guy." This ends up prompting Jimmy Uso to come out, and Jey ends up super kicking LA Knight. He did not like what he had to say. Then Punk kind of like comes over to Jey, and then he's like, "Hey, we're cool, right? But I mean, LA Knight's kind of got a point, like maybe you should be a tag team guy because nobody likes Little Roman." Then Jey gets in Punk's face, and Jimmy's actually playing peacekeeper. Jey tries to super kick Punk, but Jimmy kind of pulls him out of the ring. Punk reacts by throwing Jimmy out of the way and cheap shotting Jey. And then this leads to Jimmy Uso super kicking Punk. And that leads us to the main event, which is the Usos versus CM Punk and LA Knight. But we'll get more on that later. Io Sky versus Kairi Sane was a very fun match on Monday Night Raw. First time that this match has happened in 8 years. The crowd was going crazy for Io Sky. But Kairi Sane actually is the one that has the match won when she's about to hit the insane elbow, but she hesitates too long. So Io puts her feet up, breaking the insane elbow, and then Io Sky goes to the top rope, but Asuka pulls her down, and Kairi Sane ends up actually rolling up Io Sky with the help of Asuka. So Kabuki Warriors take out Io and stay on top before the Crown Jewel match. So yeah, it was a fun match though. I love Kairi, I love Io. I'm very excited to see this Crown Jewel match. But let's go backstage. Becky Lynch is just absolutely having a crash out for losing. She's like, how do I lose to Maxine Dupree? Like, I don't even understand how I lose to Maxine Dupree. And Seth's just looking at his watch the entire time. She ends up walking away. And then we get a very tense moment between Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. Seth tells Heyman that, like, he needs to win this Saturday. He absolutely needs to win. And Heyman, like, kind of just laughs it off. He's like, no. You will beat Cody. Like, you're going to. There's nothing. And so I feel like this was kind of a hint towards Brock Lesnar a little bit. Paul Heyman seemed a little bit too cocky to just believe in the vision as it is right now. But then Seth's like, yeah, no, I know. But, like, what if I lose? Like, what if I lose? And then Paul Heyman was just honest, and he's like, well, hey, if you lose the locker room. You lose the trust of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. You lose your vision, and you prove that you're nothing more than a secondary champion. Paul Heyman then tries to walk away, but Seth brings him back in, grabs him by the tie, and says that, well, what about you, Paul? You didn't mention yourself there. And Paul just looks at him, kind of like a devious look, and he says, well, I'm going to have to ask myself why I picked Seth Rollins over Roman Reigns. I mean, the tension here was absolutely insane. You could absolutely cut the tension with, you could find the dullest knife in the world and you could cut this tension. It was unbelievably tense. But let's go to another backstage segment. Usos and Roman part 2. Jay is crashing out about the tag match. He's like, Jimmy, like, why are we always doing the tag match? You guys stay out of my way. Like you gotta, like, I'm trying to get the World Heavyweight Championship, and you're just like, here, you gotta find out what side you're on. And Jimmy's very obviously on Jay's side, but Jay doesn't really see that. Jay walks away, and Jimmy claps back at Roman from earlier, saying that Jay and Jimmy are nothing like you, Roman. Like, we're not like you. We're not going to be like you. And Roman says, well, hey, when Jay won that World Heavyweight Championship, he got a lot closer to me than he is to you. And you might just need to stay out of his way. So now Jimmy's in this predicament. He's like, I want to be this good guy, but, like, my family's kind of turning bad again. So now he's kind of in this little, like, predicament. But let's go to match of the night, which was this beautiful 6-man tag match. Penta, AJ Styles, and Dragon Lee versus the Judgment Day. I mean, this team was so much fun. There was a huge pop when Dom got tagged. The Penta hot tag went crazy. The AJ Styles hot tag went crazy. It was just so fun. It was such a fun match. And then once the match kind of gets turned upside down is when Rusev comes storming out. And then Rusev goes right after Dominic. But Penta accidentally super kicks Rusev. And Penta's kind of like, well, I mean, I didn't hit who I wanted to, but I guess it works. Dominic grabs the titles and then runs away, leaving AJ Styles to easily pin JD McDonough. It was a great match. It was so much fun. Dom and Penta actually have an IC title match next week, which will be interesting. Probably Rusev's going to get involved there. Maybe a triple threat at Survivor Series. That'd be pretty fire. I'm not going to lie. After the match, AJ Styles grabs a mic and says that AJ Styles versus John Cena doesn't need a build because the build is in the story. And he says that they're going to leave it all in the ring and the match is going to kick ass, which all of those things made me very happy to hear. I was very excited. Very excited for AJ Styles versus John Cena at Crown Jewel. Let's go to the main event. Right before LA Knight is about to walk out, Punk comes up to him and says, hey, I know we don't get along, but let's beat the Usos. Let's come together. Let's beat the Usos. And LA Knight goes, yeah, I agree. Just don't take a pin. So kind of taking a shot at CM Punk since Seth Rollins has pinned him twice. I mean, these 4 guys go at it right away. I mean, all 4 of these guys don't like each other. There's beef with all of them. Even Jay and Jimmy, like, even they're having some beef throughout the match. All of their aggressive sides really show. When Punk and LA Knight are chopping each other to tag each other in, their beef feels so real, but it's not. And it's just like LA Knight gets tagged in for a lot of this match, and they're just dominating LA Knight. And then the Punk hot tag hits like crazy. Punk finally takes down Jay, and then he goes to the top rope, hits a little yeet before hitting his elbow drop. It was so fun. After this, Punk picks up Jimmy, goes for a GTS, but Jimmy slides off and tags in Jay. Jay hits a spear and an Uso splash and then breaks it up. And then LA Knight breaks it up. All 4 of them brawl a little bit, and then Jay spears him. Spears Punk, goes up to the top for the splash, but then jumps down to go cheap shot LA Knight. And then when Jay turns around, he finds himself in a GTS. 1, 2, 3. Punk and LA Knight win, but LA Knight stole Punk's pin on Jay. Punk hits the GTS, and then LA Knight smacks the back of Punk to tag himself in. He runs in the ring, doesn't even hit another move. Just 1, 2, 3. It was so fun. I loved the ending of Raw. LA Knight's walking up the ramp as Punk is just staring at him like, oh my God, what happened? LA Knight is probably the new number 1 contender. And that was Monday Night Raw. It was a great show. Go back and watch the 6-man tag match. Go watch the tag match at the end. It was fun. I'll see you guys for the NXT review tomorrow.